In this Wargaming Tactica, I want to talk about and explore the idea of powerful units and the use of the units with regard to timing. And this timing is going to depend on if you're playing in an open game format, meaning the game ends when certain mission objectives are achieved, whether this takes 5 turns, 10 turns, or 50 turns, or if it's a closed system. In a closed system, you have a defined number of turns, 6, 8, 10, to complete the mission. And if you don't at that point, the game ends and you tally up and see what happens. The utilization of powerful units can be a lot of fun, but also a serious point sink. Now, we've got that framework, exploring the idea of Wargaming Tactics, pushing that up to the playlist, to the channel here, independent of the system that you are playing. There are certain fundamentals that exist in every wargaming system. If you've got miniatures or tokens or counters moving around on a map with cards and or dice, there's certain fundamental mechanics that are in play. And these mechanics are going to simulate different weapon effects, different qualities of units, and of course the fog of war and the scenario itself. Being able to identify these and then layer in the specific rules, the idea, the plan, the vision, the voice is to increase your win rate and give you the tools to succeed in your next game. If it takes you 10 games to figure this out, can we do it in 6? Can we do it in 5? All right, we've got that framework. And what we see, depending on the wargaming system, certain units are more powerful than others, more killy than others. It might represent elite troops. It could be lost tech. It could be a heroic character on the tabletop. And, of course, what we see modified by historical wargaming, modern wargaming, or sci-fi, certain units tend to do better on the table than others, but they come at a cost. They come at a cost. You might not be able to take many of these units. You might only be able to take one of these units. One of the things that we see in a wargaming system, modern wargaming system, is the idea of a point structure. We're going to play a mission, and within that mission, we can buy a variety of units. And if I buy a very powerful unit, it's going to be expensive. Likewise, in historical wargaming, Chain of Command World War II, I love playing late war because we've got some amazing tanks. But these tanks cost a significant support choice. So if I take a powerful Tiger tank, that could be 10 support tanks, 10 support points. While taking some Shermans, not even Fireflies, might be 2 or 3. I'm going to be outnumbered 3, 4, or 5 to 1. So these powerful units, the problem and the challenge that we need to navigate is what I call critical mass. Critical mass is taking all the units that you have in your war game and being able to accomplish the mission goals. Remember, every turn you're getting weaker and weaker and weaker. Your army, battle group, armada, squadron, whatever that's going to be, is getting smaller, and less effective through mistakes that you make, through your opponent blowing stuff up, through just the cause of the game. So when we create an elite army or we take some very powerful units, and I'm not saying don't take them, we get into the framework of understanding when too much of a good thing is too much of a good thing. The challenge becomes you've got 2 or 3 of these super killy, powerful units on the table because the game says you can take them. They're in the army list, but you don't have enough stuff, model mass, to be able to cover the rest of the table, and you lose the mission. Okay, now we've got, say, 1 or 2 powerful units. How that manifests, what that ratio is going to be dependent on your game. At the beginning of the game, this is where your powerful, killy super unit is actually at its weakest. Because as you move out at the beginning of the game, this is the duality, as you move out at the beginning of the game, you are going to be facing the entire onslaught of your opponent's army. The torrent of dice that they'll be able to bring against it, or buffs from cards, they will have the greatest chance of destroying it at the beginning of the game. Now, there is a tactica that I pushed up with list building where sometimes you take a powerful killy unit and you just ram it right into your opponent's deployment zone. And you know you're going to lose it. But if it survives 2 or 3 turns with the entire, and again, I'm using army, it could be armada, battle group, squadron, whatever that's going to be. If your opponent's entire army fires on this one unit for 2 or 3 turns and takes it out, that's 2 or 3 turns that your army has had command of the tabletop to go in, mission objectives, to secure key points, to secure or deny terrain features. So there is a tactica where you deliberately take something powerful and just zoom it in, fly it in, march it in, teleport it in, magic it in, whatever it's going to be in the beginning to your opponent's deployment zone, just to create as much chaos as possible. But that's going to come at a point. In a more well-balanced list, a super powerful killy unit, you put that at the beginning, it gets 2 things. It either gets smacked down and destroyed. Now you've lost those points or that tactica to buy it. Or a good wargamer, if I can't destroy your unit, right? If I can't destroy that, because I'm calculating the volume of dice needed and the luck of the gods needed and all that type of stuff, and if I can't do that, then you do what's called a tar pit. You just prevent it from acting for the rest of the game, either by, depending on the rules, maybe locking it up in some sort of combat, or quite frankly, just running away from it. I call it the Highlander Effect, where just this killy unit is going out trying to gobble up other units, and they just run away. Don't even bother shooting at it. Just keep evading it. Of course, some units are faster than others, and we recognize that. So at the beginning of the game, this unit is at its most vulnerable. Where it shines is the end of the game. At the end of the game, what we now see is, yes, certain games could be one-sided based on bad tactics, bad dice, but for the most part, most wargaming systems, what you're going to see at the end of the game, as we're closing in to it ending, either because it's a fixed number of turns or if it's an open turn system, the mission objectives are about to be achieved. Both sides are really, really battered and broken up, and there's not much stuff left to put up an effective resistance. At that point, your super killy, powerful unit goes out and stops, prevents mission objectives from happening, that final mission push, because there's nothing effectively to even remotely resist it. Now, the challenge here, of course, is those points that you paid, that currency in-game that you paid, it's not out there earning every single turn. You've parked something very, very expensive at the back of the table, and it's just hanging out doing nothing. What we want to look at is the sweet point between the two. And I can't tell you when this is, because it's different for every mission, every gaming system, every type of units, but we want to be aware of it and begin to look for it if you're investing in super killy units. Deathstar type unit, we'll call it, or a hero hammer, or a powerful unit. And naturally, as a sidebar, some wargamers, they won't take powerful units. They say it's not worth the points. It's a cool unit, it does a lot, but I'm not going to bother taking this thing. So with that perspective, they just go in on regular troops or fast type of stuff, or just things that have a dependable dice flow. Look, if I take this infantry stand, I know it can generate 10 attack dice a turn consistently. I'll just take 50 of them and drown you in volume of dice. And to get them around on the table, I won't even take an expensive tank or transport. I'll just take a generic troop carrier or APC or whatever that vehicle is, and I'll just drown you in dice. So there is a tactica to that. But killy units can be fun. Maybe you want to play them. Maybe you want to explore them. At that point, what we're looking for is the mid point of the game. And again, this is a sliding scale if it's fixed or an open system. That point in the game where now you can move out and start attacking and start gobbling up units, and there's enough that your opponent has lost that they can't really speed bump it, they can't really tar pit it, they can't really destroy it effectively. And there's still time left for this unit to go out and destroy a bunch of stuff to really affect the mission goals. The challenge here, of course, is the timing and the tactica. It's going to be different every single game. Move too soon and it gets destroyed. Move too late and, well, the game's almost over. So playing conservative would be don't take anything super powerful, super killy, super expensive. Just take units that are just straight stat line, volume of dice, and how many can I spam out. But there are times, either for narrative play or excitement, or look, this is a really cool model on the table, I want to utilize it, where you will take stuff very, very expensive. At that point, depending on the scope of the game and the size, it's 1 to 3. Like if I can take 5 of these things, that doesn't mean I'm going to take 5 because then I'm not going to have critical model mass for the rest of what I need to do what I need to do. 1 to 2, maybe 3. That's the framework, that's the entry point, that's the starting point to using super powerful Death Star-like units. Now you're going to take that back to your wargaming system, layer it over, look for the Tactica, and try it in your next game.